Alright, so we've got an international break coming up next week, but before that, we've got a full round of Premier League fixtures to go through. So let's go through the highlight matches, the main games that I'm looking out for this week, Matchday 7 in the Premier League. So the Premier League Matchday 7 gets started tonight, Fulham against Bournemouth, but nobody really cares about that, so let's go for it. Sorry, Bournemouth and Fulham fans, but let's be real here. No one really cares outside of your support when it comes to that, but let's go for a proper game. Leeds United against Tottenham Hotspur, Saturday lunchtime. That is a bit harsh, isn't it? So while Sunderland have very much taken the spotlight for the newly promoted sides, Leeds have been doing pretty well as well, in fairness, particularly at home, where they are unbeaten so far this season. They got an impressive draw last time out against Bournemouth. Tottenham have been a bit hit and miss, but mostly hit for the most part so far this season. So this is going to be a really close game, I think. I don't think there's going to be too much between them. Tottenham, of course, are coming off the back of a long old trip up to the Arctic Circle to face Bodo Glimt in the Champions League in midweek, so that could well tire them out a little bit. Overall, I think this is going to be quite a close game between them. I'm going to go for Desmond in this one, 2-2. I think that'll be a result that probably both sides will take, to be honest with you, if you were to give it them now. Next, let's talk about Manchester United against Sunderland. Like I said, Sunderland at the moment in the Champions League spot as things stand. I don't expect that to last too much longer, but the Black Cats have been absolutely purring so far on their return to the Premier League, like I said in a previous video earlier this week. Man United, though, they've been not very good, to be honest. They've really flattered to deceive so far this season. They've not been that terrible at home, though, to be fair. Their home record's not that bad. They managed to get a win last time out, of course, against Chelsea as well in their previous home game. So I don't think there'll be a lot between them in this one, to be honest with you. I do feel like it's going to be quite close, and maybe I'm going to regret saying this, but I've got a funny feeling Man United are going to win. I feel like Sunderland are going to get a bad result eventually, and this is probably going to be it. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory for the Red Devils in this game. Next up, we've got a London derby, Arsenal at home against West Ham United. Nuno Espirito Santo has been installed as the new West Ham boss, and he's facing another difficult away game on his start to life at the London Stadium. Arsenal, meanwhile, they're looking to close the gap even more on Liverpool. They're within striking distance now, just 2 points between the two sides at the top of the Premier League. And I do think Nuno is going to get West Ham firing. I do think he's going to get them performing better on the whole, but this is not going to be one of those games. I do expect it to be quite tight. I feel like Nuno's going to sit in and just try and defend and try and hold for a 0-0, but I feel like Arsenal in the end are going to have too much for them. So I'm going to go with 2-0 to the Gunners on this one. Next up, let's head to the Saturday late game, Chelsea against Liverpool. Now this is interesting. Enzo Maresca under a bit of pressure, of course. Chelsea have not been... Now this is an interesting one because Enzo Maresca, the Chelsea manager, has been a bit under pressure recently. The fans not too happy with how they've been performing over the past few weeks. They've not been on a good run, really. Liverpool, meanwhile, I mean, they've not been on a good run in these past few games either, losing last time out to Crystal Palace and, of course, losing very disappointingly away to Galatasaray in the Champions League as well. Chelsea managed to get a win in midweek in the Champions League, but were far from convincing against Jose Mourinho's Benfica. Overall, these are two sides that really cannot afford to lose another game, and with that in mind, I'm going to go for them to not lose this game. I'm going to go with a draw in this one. Desmond once again, 2-2. I feel like Chelsea are probably going to be playing more for a draw, and this has not been a happy hunting ground at Stamford Bridge for Liverpool in recent times. They lost on their previous visit to the Chelsea Stadium, so I feel like a draw is probably going to be the most likely result here. And the final game for you guys, Newcastle United against Nottingham Forest. Now, I am highlighting this. This is the Sunday 2 PM kickoff, one of them anyway, because I think there's genuinely a decent chance this could be Ange Postecoglou's final game in charge of Nottingham Forest, which sounds absolutely insane, and I think it would be a very harsh decision to do that, even if he loses. However, you have to realise who's in charge at Nottingham Forest. Evangelos Marinakis, not exactly the most level-headed gentleman, it's fair to say. I wouldn't rule it out. I really wouldn't rule it out because, you know, they're edging towards that relegation zone. They lost again in midweek in Europe. They are not looking good. They've not had a single victory yet under Big Ange. And this is going to be a tough game because Newcastle, you know, they've had a few more days to rest. They've had more time to rest in this one. They managed to get a huge win in midweek in the Champions League against Union Saint-Gilloise of Belgium. I think Newcastle are going to win. They're due a win in the Premier League. They've had a lot of draws. They've not had many losses either. I think just the 2 losses, I believe, against Arsenal and Liverpool. Yeah, so there's not really much between these two sides in the league, surprising. Just the 1 point. just the 1 point. I feel like Newcastle are going to get the victory they need. And I think they're going to win well. I think they're going to win 3-0. I think they're going to batter Forest because Ange, his sides cannot defend. They just can't. They can't. And I feel like Newcastle, with how they're performing at the moment, they're clicking into gear now. Voltemade, Gordon, they're all performing. Even Barnes off of the bench as well. Been popping up with goals. So, yeah, I think they're going to batter him. I think 3-0 is probably generous to Forest, really. But we'll see what happens, guys. It's bound to be interesting if nothing else. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about these games in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, guys, if you want to see more like this. And have a fantastic day wherever you're on the world today. See you very soon.